while since I've done the show, since we've done the show, and I forgot how hard the intro goes now.
Yes, I love it. I love it. It is good.
Welcome to the Escape. My name is Nick. I am joined once again with Nate. How are you doing, sir?
I'm tired, man.
Yay! Aren't we all? Welcome to adulthood. It doesn't get any better.
Yes.
So, yeah, we're going to talk about the Acolyte. First 2 episodes have dropped. We're going to talk a little bit about Godzilla because I just want to talk about Godzilla because it just came out on Netflix. And I've already watched it a few times, and I'm very happy about it. But we're going to get caught up with Nate because Nate has been doing a lot. You've been doing a lot. That's one of the reasons you're so tired. But you went and did a bunch of, not a bunch, but you did a few Comic-Cons and you did some panels. How'd that go?
The panel was fantastic. I felt like I was kind of over it. And, like I'm okay, so much set up. This is the book we made. I got everybody involved to sign it. Sophia did the cover, or the top part of the cover, the peaceful lady, and then Austin did the kind of tormented guy at the bottom. See if we do that. But this was we made a little collectible booklet, and I was totally fine. I've got this totally under control. And when I sat down and opened my mouth, all I could say was and it was just so weird to be put on the spot because you're looking at this audience and there wasn't too many people in there, maybe 25, 30 at max. And
hey, that's good because the panel I went to for like all the turtle creators, there are like 12 people in there. So yeah. You did just fine, sir.
Well, and it was funny because once I got through kind of my uncomfortableness and we went down the row of people, it's like the confidence boosted up. And we all started talking. Dr. Welter, who was on the show before, she was in there. She gave a lot of great info. And it like all of a sudden we just lit up. And if you remember Sophia Cox, I think she was also on the show. Yep. She was kind of nervous and she just like opened up. And it was so cool to see. And it totally encouraged me. And then we're going. And then the whole room opened up. And it was like a forum. And at first I was a little kind of like, this is my panel. Why are you all talking? But the interaction, it was very supportive and very cool. So at the end, the panel producer walked up like immediately at the end and said, we'd like you to do this again next year. Then he emailed and or messaged, and there's somebody named Sebastian who runs Stranger Comics. Have you ever heard of Stranger Comics?
I have not. There's so many indie imprints or in just comics now. It's hard to keep up, frankly.
He's actually quite successful. He's as a comic book artist and maybe an actor. He's repped by WME, which is William Morris, and in LA, and he wants to be on the panel too. And we're gonna kind of in the middle of kind of figuring that out. It feels weird to me. It's like if Brad Pitt wanted to join your cooking with dinner with you, like, why do you want to come to my house, Brad Pitt?
Why do you want to come and hang with me again?
So I'm actually kind of asking this dude like what his background is, because I don't, the guy's, he's got it all. He's put out multiple books. Viola Davis is like helping support his project. Like isn't that what's Amanda Waller?
Amanda Waller, and yeah. And also, one of the better actresses of a generation. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really cool. Comic-Con Phoenix Fan Fusion was good. A little burnt out. We had Free Comic Book Day, which we might have checked in. That went really well. We did 5 locations, and that was also very tiring. And I'm just tired, man. No, really, I'm tired, man.
It's not just a clever name. It's how he feels, folks. So.
Yes. But yeah, there's other stuff going on, but that's kind of it on the con circuit. We're going to take a break until September, and we're learning that you don't just chase cons because they don't always make money. So we want to find better ways to do it, and we're just going to keep pushing. Hopefully, be creating None of the Chihuahuas Part 2, which is called Chihuahuas from Hell. And it ups the ante. It gets more and more ridiculous, and that's everything you could want from Night of the Chihuahuas.
That's all we ask, really. And
Yeah.
I mean, and that's how you do a proper sequel, anyway. I always call it the alien versus aliens. Be like, if you thought this was bad, wait until we just add a bunch more, and then it's terrible. So.
That's like Blade 2. I've been watching Blade 2. You and I talked about it. But when I first saw Blade 2, I was so enamored with the idea that what are vampires afraid of? It's like,
yeah.
oh.
Oh, they're afraid of. There are things that can kill vampires besides just humans. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there was a book you wanted to talk about. You want to talk about that real quick?
Sure. This is from our friends at Sin City Comics. This is Erratic #1. This is a special variant cover. The book is like butter. Quite literally, it feels amazing when you touch it. Actually, I don't know if butter feels amazing when you touch it, but
how can you touch butter? I don't.
You're a butter toucher. But this book is great. This is really good. I'm enjoying it. I bought issue 2 at Fan Fusion. This is issue 1. I bought issue 2, and I came home and realized I already had issue 2. So should I read them both? Like,
pass it off to a friend.
Yes. But yeah, they're awesome guys. They're former military up in Las Vegas, and they're kind of on the same path we are, just creating their own stuff. So, shout out to Sin City Comics.
I say love supporting veterans. So.
Yep. It doesn't work anymore.
Huh?
It doesn't work anymore.
Hey, it's your camera. I didn't do anything. That is your problem, sir. So all I can do is, let's see here. I can give you one of these.
Yes.
So what I haven't been doing much. I feel lame. Oh wait, I did get something. Good friend of mine got this for me, so don't worry about that. But
signed by Jay Gonzo, it looks like,
and a COA. So I don't know how many comics, because I don't collect to resell, so like I don't care if I get COAs or not. And someone's like, "Hey, if you don't trust me, shut up."
Yep. Did you see that they have something now, I believe, that can digitally tell if the signature is authentic? So you can have a comic that was signed before and then send it in, and they can verify and then get it graded as a signed comic, even though it wasn't viewed or whatever, proctored.
Right. Yeah. One, it's so hard, especially just, it's got to be hard grading signatures because signatures change like all the time. Like I know, like Mickey Mantle, like one of the most famous, signatures. His signatures change over decades and decades. So if you got his autograph in the 50s and the 70s, and I think he died in the 90s, you might have three completely different looking signatures from the same guy.
Yeah.
So that's got to be a tough one, but I'm not shocked because it's today's day and age, and I'm sure there's instead of there's an app for that, there's got to be an AI for that at this point. So it's just how it is. I just assume. I don't know. That's just got to be tough in general, but also I think it's got to be tougher to scam people. But then again, people get scammed all the time, so I don't know.
Yeah, find ways. I don't know if we can sidetrack for a second. Have you seen all these artists talking about Meta trying to steal their stuff with AI?
I'm not shocked, and that's funny you brought that up, because that is something I do want to get some of our artist friends on and talk about. Kara, which is, I think, I signed up for it. I still don't even know what it is, but it's mainly a artist. Is it supposed to be like a social media platform or just a website where it's basically no AI at all? It's all got to be, artists creatives or artists created stuff, like no AI stuff.
From what I gather, it's a little of both, like a portfolio slash, oh hello me, portfolio slash. So
No.
oh, there we are. But I don't know, because it's interesting. This happened with Blue Sky. If you remember, this happened. Something happened. Everyone's like, "We're leaving. We're leaving."
Yeah, well,
And
was that
someone,
was that result of like the Twitter when Elon
no,
took over Twitter? I know there was a bunch of people, or was it just based
no,
off the AI? I don't remember.
it was something that had to do with Instagram, and I created a Blue Sky,
Okay.
but it was messing up. Like things wouldn't upload, and that's what I've heard with Kara now is that, or Kara, that they're having trouble. And somebody put it really well: is like, if you have artists in an artist community, that's cool, but how many people are actually going to see your work? You
Right.
know?
If it's like preaching to the choir, right? It's like you're like I said, if only artists know about it, cool. But artists don't always buy stuff, and there's the starving artist stereotype.
Yeah, it's so hard to say because it's like I feel like I see both sides of it kind of, and not to disrespect any of the artists that we work with, but I think we'll stay on Instagram. I started signing up for a Kara account, and we'll probably straddle both and see if it's even worth it.
Well, and that's anytime there's a new platform. First of all, I think it's only in beta, so there's still going to be bugs. But at the same time, unless it has the same infrastructure as X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and then just call it the meta stuff. It's sometimes you just got to go with that. You just got to go with what am I trying to say? I don't know, but it's already intact. It's already working. You don't have to like it, but it is probably one of the better tools for artists.
And Meta will buy it in 6 months, anyways.
And think still not get stolen the block. Like not to say, hey, get used to it, but it's the wild west, and who knows, what sheriff's going to come and wrangle it? Because good luck trying to get AI under control. That's it. That's just talk about a damn near impossible task. How not to get your stuff digitally stolen.
Did you see that there was a Japanese photographer who took a picture of a woman, and there was a man in the Netherlands that painted almost exactly the same image. Like he repainted. He just inversed. It's like if the woman was facing this way, the other one was facing this way.
Right.
And the lady won a copyright. But how much trouble is that to go through? I mean, think about international law just to go
right.
get a copyright.
Well, and also you probably have to be a decent sized artist for someone to go, I'm coming after you. Because if it was just some nobody, okay, someone comes after me, I'm like, good luck. I ain't got nothing, so
yeah.
I'll give you $20.
Handshake and $20.
Yeah, handshake. You can slap me in the face, but that makes you feel better because that's about all you're getting. So.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this train somewhat back on track. So, Nate, one of my favorite, no, not one of my favorite, my favorite movie of 2023 came out on streaming, Godzilla -1, and they added something that I think it held a lot of people. I was surprised how many people subtitles holds back still. But I had a good friend of mine. He's just like, I don't want to read a movie. Cool, I get it, but also he doesn't have great eyesight, so I completely understand. But I just when we watch our stuff at home, we put on closed captions just because we got dogs, we got somebody doing dishes, someone vacuuming or whatever, just life. So yeah.
And no, but sometimes you miss something too.
That's the other, because I was like closed caption, and then we started using it. Now I don't even notice, and like I said, I pick up more stuff. What did that guy say? Instead of having to rewatch it 3 times, be like, oh, he said this, and and also
Can I tell a little story?
Yeah.
My best friend from high school, both of his parents were deaf, and one of the coolest things you'll ever see is deaf people argue. It's intense, but I go to his house and they would have closed captioning on, and we watch it. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it.
Right.
And then I kept watching it, and it just became normal. And yeah, I can't watch it without now. It almost bugs me when I go to the movie theater.
Yeah.
Like, where's the captioning?
Yes, yeah. Well, and also like one of our favorite things to do is just the descriptions that they throw in. Like they always put in like if there's a crowd of people, there's clamoring, be like, oh no, clamoring, look out, or like intense music, be like, that is intense music, So
Did you ever see the meme that had the lady crying on a Spanish soap opera and it said crying in Spanish?
I know I've sent it to you like 1,000 times, but I'll keep sending it like the dog like barking in Spanish. But I do love those stories when you like my dog's Spanish because they're trying to yell it in English and then they say something in Spanish and it's like, oh, yeah, and it's like I guess dogs would understand different languages. So
yes. Sorry, back on track.
So anyway, Godzilla -1. So it did have the English audio dub. Okay. I didn't have much of a problem. This is saying like it's just one of those you can't please everybody. Like it's impossible. So my one friend's like, cool, I'll finally give it a shot. I'm like, fantastic. And then you go, check Twitter and like, oh, and people are like, I hate this English dub, blah 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 blah. I'm like, oh, like yeah. It's actually like a pretty good dub because Netflix has a bunch of foreign language stuff and a lot of it is dubbed, and like especially like the if it's from Germany or from another European country, sometimes like the audio gets off so bad, but I don't think that was an issue. And I was just watching. I was just like, not that I forgot, but I just like, oh yeah, this movie's amazing. Like the story in this movie is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it is. Is that my turn to talk?
Yeah, so you want to jump in because I didn't talk.
No, it really is. And I had this cool conversation with another screenwriter recently, and talking about honesty in film writing, TV, and that was one thing in Godzilla -1 that really stood out to me was like things that I didn't know about World War II, right? Like the kamikaze pilots and how these men were basically sent to their death, if their plane, they had no parachutes, no ejector seats. And right. I don't know, I appreciate that kind of honesty because it gives like depth. And it's fun to see Godzilla running around kicking butt. And there was also a really good story in there.
Well, and that was kind of very much the same thing. Be like, that story never occurred to me.
Yeah.
Like a kamikaze pilot who did not, let's just say, didn't fulfill his mission. And then going back to a completely and utterly devastated country, devastated financially. Like you just, let's face it, you started World War II and you lost, and it's just a completely devastated culture. What would that look like? And like when I try and explain, the plot to people, I'm like, it's hard to explain because there's so many layers, like character wise, where it's just like, you have the kamikaze pilot going back to the town that he's from that's destroyed. It's devastated. People are like, hey, they knew you were a kamikaze pilot. Why are you here? Why didn't you fulfill your mission? If you had fulfilled your mission, maybe our town wouldn't have been destroyed. Yeah. And it's just, and then there's the orphan girl, with the one woman, and it was just like, there's so many, like holy geez, like.
Yeah, and I was surprised it actually teared up toward the end. It caught me off guard. I was like, wow.
Well, and especially, in a theater where, like you said, you have no connection to it, but you get the story, you get everything so quickly, and they did so well that you're so engaged with these characters. You're like, yeah, I do care, like that. you thought she died, and then you see her in the hospital, and you're like, you know.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it was. I just want to talk about that because Adam and I want to talk about it, but Adam doesn't have the greatest internet, so we weren't able to talk about it on the show. But I was watching. I was like, golly, that's just such a damn good story. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
All right, now let's get to the meat and potatoes, Nate.
Echo. Light.
So there are going to be some spoilers, but so Star Wars Acolyte, executive produced by Leslie Headland. Nate, I don't understand things. Like back in the day, like even with, or we can put it with comics, like back in the day, like only the best of the best, like the best writers, the best artists got the best characters for comic books. The best writers, best directors went on movies like, the big budget movies, Star Wars and all that. And now you get Leslie Headland, who has a very sparse production background. Her biggest thing is she's best well known as being Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant, and it's just like, these are the people that are now helming Star Wars. I was like, can we get some of like a touch more experience? I don't care, and woman, child. Like, the lore, do you get Star Wars? But, oh, okay, let me start. This is my start of my rant. Disney Plus is the worst streaming platform. It just is.
Okay.
When I went to sit down and watch it, the whole thing froze up and I had to like reboot my TV. I don't know what happened. I'm just sitting here like I had to jump out of it, try and jump back in. I don't know if I've ever had to do that to any other streamer, like at least an established streamer, like a big time streamer, like Netflix or Prime or anything like that. And then I'm watching episode 1. I was like, okay, like nothing crazy. We're introduced. That's fine. And then it jumps to the next episode. I was like, wow, that went pretty quick. All right, not bad. And then they have the the review of the last episode. And I'm like, I don't remember any of this. I went back. Disney Plus jumped it to the next episode, and I was only halfway through. And I'm like, what? So I had to go, and I didn't realize it until I'd already watched episode 2. So I had to go back, and I'm just like, I don't know. And because I don't want to give that much money to Disney, there are commercials like every literally 4 to 5 minutes, it feels like.
Wow.
Like of all the stream, because I'm to the point now where I'm like, I'm not going to keep, going with these absorbent prices just because I don't want to see commercials, which I don't like commercials. But it's gotten to the point where I'm just like, I'll pay a little bit less and having a commercial, occasionally, which it's not too bad on Netflix. It's not too bad on Prime. But like Disney, it was noticeably like every few minutes there was a commercial break, and it was a long commercial break because all the streamers got how long the commercial break is up in the corner or whatever. So that was it. So I'm already not happy. I'm already confused, and I was probably a little bit hungry. So
that makes a difference.
Yeah, it does.
Were you tired?
I assume. I assume I was tired because that's just how life goes. But and one of the things I do want to talk about, just the publicity for this show has been an absolute train wreck the week before. You had the actor who plays Yord, Charlie Bennett, in multiple interviews mentioning how Anakin had destroyed the Death Star in Star Wars, and no one corrected him. And he's sitting there going on and talking. It's also the same guy at Disney Star Wars Celebration where he said in Star Wars there's no good and evil, like there's no good and bad. I'm like, that's not true, but okay. And then in another interview, you had the reporter asking Leslie Headland if this is the gayest Star Wars. And I'm just like, why is this even a topic? Like, I don't understand. and then you had the star of the show, who was it? Amanda Stenberg on Trevor Noah saying her goal is for white people crying was the goal. I'm just like, none of this makes me want to watch the show. Like, I don't understand. Like, do they not? Nate, once you make it big and like you're writing all these Hollywood shows, let me know if they make you go through some type of like media training to not say completely asinine
things. They actually brainwash you.
Oh, is that what happens?
Yes, and then you just say whatever they type in.
I'd say, are you like a hard drive? They reformat you and just type things in.
It's like a teleprompter. I'm Ron Burgundy.
I'm Ron Burgundy. Yeah. So it's just, and this is the things like it could be like amazing, which it's not. But if it were amazing, like a lot of the stuff you would let go. And it's just when things aren't great, that's when people really focus on every little, nook and cranny of any cracks in the armor of the facade, you will. So, how do you want to do like with your? Because you said you watched the first episode.
Yeah, I can just give my little 2 cents. I mean, I was really happy to see Carrie-Anne Moss. I was really disappointed that she died.
That's my thing. I was like, dude, because I've kind of got like a good and bad, as far as casting, and I'm just like, that's awesome. Yeah, like I said, it's great to see her because she is at this point, sci-fi royalty, and yeah, she's there for 5 minutes.
I felt that she could have played such a bigger, longer role. I mean, unless they're gonna like retcon her back into like another story or something. Well, she just how she carried herself. I'm like,
yes,
badass.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. They call it gravitas, and for the most part, like it's usually more attributed to men, on screen, just having on screen presence. But Carrie-Anne Moss definitely has that gravitas where you go, when they're on screen, you go, oh, I'm looking, whatever you're doing, I'm paying attention to what you're doing. She definitely has that. And yeah, they waste it in 5 minutes. And like, she doesn't even really go out in like a blaze of glory. She kind of just gets shivved like in a prison riot.
Look over there.
Yeah, literally. It's like, yeah, gotcha.
Peekaboo.
Yeah, you're right.
And then I haven't gotten too far, but I did gather that there's twins,
right?
Osha and May, and for a small period of time, I was really infatuated with the idea that Osha actually had what's it called? Personality disorder, where she might have actually not knowingly, as another part of her dissociative personality disorder, went and killed Carrie-Anne Moss or Indara, I think. And maybe she went back and she was totally oblivious. And I thought, what a cool thing if Star Wars actually tackled mental health, because that's something that I haven't. I mean, yes, you've got characters that are tortured and twisted souls, but you've actually focused on like, wow, this person actually is two people in one thing. So I liked the mystery of that initially. I was like, wow, this could actually play out really cool. And they went another direction, but I'm still enjoying it. I want to see where they go, and maybe it will fall flat on its face, or maybe it already has, as you will educate us. But
and it's the first 2 episodes, they had their issues, but my understanding is from the people who I follow on YouTube, specifically the guys from Film Threat, Alan Ng, who has seen the first 4 episodes. He says basically episode 3 is going to make it or break for a lot of people, and he thinks for the old school Star Wars fans, it's really going to do some damage. So we'll see. But so let me just go over the things I liked as far as cast wise. I think the Lee Jung-jae who's the Jedi Master Soul. That dude's a Jedi. Like, he kind of, once again, has the gravitas. Crazy thing, didn't speak English before he took the role. Had to, learning English kind of on the fly for this role.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And also, most people probably know him from Squid Game. Great actor, and I think he's doing a great job. It's just one of those frustrates me that they got rid of Carrie Ann Moss so much because you had good actors, and you're just like, we're just gonna kill this one. It's be like, okay, cool.
Maybe that's all they could afford.
Yeah. It's like, how much does this run us? We have her for 5 minutes. Like, all right, might as well kill her, I guess. So, but yeah, I think he's probably the best thing going in the show, and actually seems like, he'd be a good Jedi. And it's just nice to have, like, actually, one of the things people complain about especially with Reva from Obi-Wan Kenobi, is like, hey, if you're a bad guy, usually the bad guys who are Imperials in Star Wars, where they kind of have that English accent, and kind of accents are actually played on, actually like that. It has a very nice, I think his accent lends very well to his character in this. And it's just, I don't know why, I just like accents in Star Wars. It just works better for some reason, instead of just having the straight kind of Middle Western accent.
So like a Jar Jar Binks accent.
Of course, that's my favorite. That's my go-to. Nisa hate my life, but it's
my
fun.
ringtone.
I have a friend that loves legitimately loves Jar Jar Binks. I was like, good for you. Good for you.
Congratulations.
So, and as much as I didn't like her statements on Trevor Noah, Amanda Stenberg, who is actually Rue, I think, from
Hunger Games.
Yeah, Hunger Games. So, I do like her. I think she's doing a good job. It's just, hey, if you've got twins who haven't seen each other in 16 years, probably don't have the exact same haircut. Maybe? Could you have given them just a touch of character difference? And I guess that kind of plays into the part where Osha gets picked up for, mistakenly, that she's not the assassin, mistakenly as the murderer. But it's like, I don't know. They're twins. Can you give them just a little bit of difference? They don't have to be completely identical. And Carrie Ann Moss, I loved. But it's just like, cool. They're 5 minutes. Good stuff. So the bad so far, Charlie Bennett. He plays Jedi Yord Vandar. He might be the worst Jedi I've ever seen. Where he has his Padawan, which is the other part that I don't like, is Daphne Keene. She's X-23 from Logan. She's the Padawan Jecki, and she seems to be constantly correcting her Jedi. And I'm just like, being corrected by a child the whole time because you're either doing something stupid or saying something stupid, not super helpful. And so they kind of made her like an Ahsoka Part 2, which I don't
know. I like Daphne Keene. I kind of didn't like that they put her in all makeup and stuff. I mean, I know that's part of the thing, but I just wanted to be like, that's X-23, kick butt.
Yeah.
maybe she'll ping at some point.
Yeah, it was. Excuse me. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed that, like you said, they put her under so much makeup. It took a second to be like, oh yeah, that's her. But yeah, so far not. The story's a little bit clunky. Some of the stuff.
Did I sent you? It was late, and I wasn't going to text you, but I sent you the Acolyte was a Star Wars fan film.
Yeah, I think you. Yeah, I.
Is that where they got the idea?
I don't think so.
Okay, that'd be really cool.
Because my understanding with, this was a Leslie Headland project, and she kind of had it as Frozen, parts of Frozen, and I'm just like, that doesn't make me happy. Yeah, so the 2002 fan film made Jedi Knight Radek, his Padawan Nova, and her right hand Ozzy have gone to the Korriban tomb of the first Dark Lord of the Sith, Ajunta Hall, and retrieved a map which points to a book of Ajunta's teachings. Jesus, like the MacGuffins all
Because
over
we
the
don't know
place.
where the Acolyte's going to go, so I was wondering if that part of it might be based on that.
Well, and that's why I'm reading
Yeah,
this is the synopsis for it. So they must find the book and bring it to Coruscant before the Acolyte gets to it and unlocks its power. The Acolyte is hot on their trail. So they might, it's one of those, maybe the names have been changed, but we'll see. But that doesn't seem to be the way it's going right now.
yeah. It's cool to see like fan stuff come to life, like Boss Logic. You know Boss Logic?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when he creates something and then like actually, well, didn't he did Rosario Dawson as Ashoka?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ahsoka. Yeah, how do you say it? Oh, and you're gonna correct me.
So
Okay, but yeah, I mean that whole thing. He's been doing a lot of Ghost Rider stuff lately, and I'm wondering if there's any relevance to what he's doing.
well, it does surprise me how often like fan casting stuff takes off, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Yeah,
Probably the most recent experience, of bad was everybody wanted John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, and then they're like, maybe not.
yeah,
So, um, yeah, there's just, and like I said, it's kind of like a murder mystery because you have the Acolyte as May, and she's on the hunt for 4 Jedi. And I think it's pretty obvious that they don't say exactly why, but it's kind of because in episode 1 they talk about the fire, right?
and she also mentioned that the Jedi don't draw their weapons, and then she said, "Yes, you did." I was wondering if they did something naughty.
Well,
Naughty.
and that's kind of the thing is the way they frame the Jedi. It's very one. They're kind of like cops, which I'm like, maybe the iterations I know of the Jedi, they're not cops. They don't scream like in the name of Republic, like freeze and like they're, doing a drug bust and they're serving a search warrant for something. But it seems like they might in the High Republic, which is kind of what this era is based off of. And yeah, there's kind of weird rule things that I'm like, these aren't the rules that I know of. Like they're like, you don't pull a Jedi, you don't pull a lightsaber unless you intend to kill somebody. I was like, they pull out their lightsabers all the time as a flashlight. Like,
Yeah,
it's a tool. It's not, there's a difference when,
yeah, and he does that. Yord does that
yeah,
because they're walking through a little cavern. He pulls it out as a lightsaber.
you do that in the video games. Like, that you kind of do. That's the thing. Like, it's
Yeah,
not, and someone tried to like make it almost like a, Second Amendment. Oh, they're trying to convey that lightsaber like guns. And I'm like, I really hope that's not the case because that would just another example of how well you don't really know Star Wars and you're trying to inject something that's not there. I will give them benefit of the doubt and just kind of say this is a different iteration of the Jedi, you know, because I think it's 100. It's supposed to be set like 100 years before the Skywalker saga and the Clone Wars and that. So maybe it's like, yes, the Jedi have evolved and changed some of their teachings. Because right now the Jedi's are, like I said, they're more like a police force and like an FBI instead of a kind of quasi-religious warrior faction.
can you hear children laughing?
I can't. Sounds like they're having fun. So, yeah, and there's just certain things that story-wise, they're because they have Saul, who's like, "No, May's dead. I saw the body," and like literally the next scene, Osha's like, "I saw May," and he goes, "I believe you."
Yeah,
So it's like, wouldn't the correct response be like more like kind of shock and like how, not just yeah, you're no, totally get it.
Yeah, that did feel kind of rushed.
Yeah, I say that. And look, I understand story has to happen, but it was like literally back to back scenes. And the only reason it seems so long is because there was like 2 commercial breaks in between. But, and one of the other things that kind of the internet attacked and some of the YouTubers attacked, and I didn't have too much of an issue with it, was one of the, I think it's the scene you get introduced to Osha, and there's the fire on the outside of the ship, and it looks like a campfire. And everybody's like, it's not how fire works in space, but, and of course they use that as the flashback mechanism to trigger that. So I'm just like, I don't know. I didn't have too much of an issue with it, but some people kind of pointed it out, and then the internet happened. So
The internet happened.
yeah, a bunch of people started attacking each other for like, everybody's like, hey, like you can do fire in space, that's fine, but you kind of have to. It can't look like a campfire, you know? It's like because
A match.
yeah, it's kind of what it looked like. It's like, well, just make it look a little, maybe space it up a little bit, because I think when actually there's fires in 0G, it actually looks more liquid than anything.
Yeah.
But also, and then, like I said, then people started attacking each other. Like, well, you know, what about this explosion? Like, it wasn't an explosion; it was an open fire. Like,
Yeah.
it's just it. Like I said, the internet happened. It wasn't the worst thing, but also like, it's things like that where you see how much, how much they actually pay attention to detail. And that's where I think some of the people are getting a little bit scared. Be like, oh, you kind of let that slide right on by. Okay. Oh, good. And I know, like, Star Wars is not hardcore science fiction. It's more fantasy in space. But in 2024, like, you have a somewhat sophisticated sci-fi audience where people are going to notice that stuff.
Yeah.
And once again, like another Disney Star Wars show, the sets look kind of cheap and fake, and there's some pretty clunky editing that I don't know why they made decisions. Like, I think it was in the second episode. Like, I'm not going to go spoiler territory for Nate, but the girl uses this little pickpocket to gain entry.
I saw that.
Okay. All right, so instead of like, the simple thing is the girl opens the door, and then the May sneaks in, flips a kid a coin, and that's all you need. And in the scene, like, the girl looks back and it's like, I opened the door for you, and I'm just like, it just looks like so clunky. I'm just like,
that was part of her contract.
yeah, I was like, what did that girl have, like some type of union thing where she has to be on screen for like 37 seconds?
It was part of Carrie Ann Fisher's contract.
Yeah, like, that's her kid. So, but it just seemed like it just looked so clunky, where like it was like everything was exaggerated. I'm just like, okay. So, so Nate, what did you overall think of the story of at least the first episode?
I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to give it a shot. I was kind of disillusioned by some of the shows in the recent past, and I'm looking forward to what they're going to do. And like the Venom 3 trailer came out, and it's like, well, like, how do you feel? Will I watch it? Yeah, probably.
And when you are looking to kill someone, do you always run up and say, attack me?
That's exactly what I do.
That's precisely, if I were an assassin, that's how I would assassinate people.
When I go bear hunting, that's what I do.
Yeah. You don't try and scare the bear off. You're like, let's go, bear. Come here. Like, you go first. You get the first shot, bear. It's just weird.
And she hits that pose.
Yeah. And there's weird dialogue things where, like, within a span of 30 seconds, Osha's like telling her story, like, yeah, I'm not a Jedi anymore. I'm a mechanic. I'm a mechanic. And everybody's, oh, dangerous job. And I'm like, and they're like, oh, you're a mechanic. Ooh, dangerous job. And I was like, why did you do that twice? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it just story wise, I'm just like, what was the point of having them say it twice? Like,
Yeah.
is it like we need more girls in STEM? Like, I don't know. So I just had it as, Carrie Moss gets murdered by our unknown assassin who yells, "Attack me." Why? I don't know. And then Osha gets mistaken as the killer because the bartender says that's her, and then she immediately off to jail, like straight to jail.
And they randomly brought that exact bartender all the way across the galaxy to accuse her.
He's part of the posse to go hunt her down. And I'm just like, so yeah, they just bring this guy for everybody they interrogate. I'm just like, maybe I'm used to how like America, the American system works, where like there's due process. Like maybe you're innocent, maybe you're not. But no, apparently in Star Wars, that guy goes, "Yep, that's her," and you immediately put on a prisoner transport. And then, did you understand why the damn plane, like not the plane, but the transport crashes? Because I think it's the one guy who had the weird eyes. Like, did he sabotage it, or did like the robots just run into asteroids?
I thought he disabled them.
Well, I was like, I was trying to figure that out because I was like, did he clearly did something, but there's no like, they just kind of showed his face, and next thing you know, the robots like turn back, they fold back in the chairs.
That was actually...
There's lots of weird jokes in there, I assume, but that's having a wrong seat on. Probably work the airplane joke.
This seat is taken.
This seat's taken. Like, oh baby, yeah.
I do have one thing I want to say before we end, but it can wait till we wrap it up. Another thing that I saw this week that was captivating.
I do want to talk about a movie I saw, and we'll do that some stuff at the end. Okay. But so it was kind of funny where she's trying to help the one guy into the escape pod, and she zaps the thing off his face, and the dude like a Narcan freak out, like he jumps up and like mad dashes into the space pod and then like takes off. She's like, "What the hell was that?"
And then Soul sees him later and is like, "What happened?" "She's horrible. She let me go. She helped
saved
me.
My life." Yeah. So and then all the escape pods are gone. She wrapped herself into the ship.
Nope. How did she wrap herself into the chair? And after she crashed, she was just sitting on the ground, no chair around, no seatbelts on her.
I don't even think she had a cut or bruises or anything. Because I'm sitting there, I'm like,
she used the Force.
She was just in a car wreck, like a pretty serious car wreck, and not a bruise, like not a scratch.
And the ship didn't even explode. It's kind of slid to a stop.
It kind of did a toboggan. And it's like, all right, well, I guess that wasn't so bad. And I was just thinking, I was like, is there no emergency system? I mean, the whole ship's run by droids, and there's no emergency. The whole thing, I was just like, I know story needs to happen, but at the same time, I'm like, sometimes you just go, do you know the world that you're writing stories in? Because how some of the stuff isn't really working.
It's a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, I know. And so, so she easily survives the terrible wreck. She evades the Jedi for a few seconds, and then they kind of have that weird fugitive scene at the end of the tunnel, and Saul, saves her, brings her back up, and there was no reason for her to jump or whatever. But
cooler if you'd actually see her coming up in the air. She just stays there.
There was a few. the effects in this were weird. Like when it's, I don't know why it looked weird, but it looked wonky when they were in the bar in the beginning, and the one girl's fallen, and then Carrie Ann Moss, catches her, and they're like that looked kind of weird. Like this is still ILM, right? This is still Industrial Light and Magic doing the effects, because like the way she caught and the way she like bounced, I was like that. It all looked weird and clunky to me, but
yeah.
But yeah, like it's always anytime you have Jedi's, it's always hard to not overdo the Force and overdo everything. I think they did actually a pretty good job of that. And it was nice to see Jedi's doing Jedi things, like I said, mind tricking and like all that. So, like, and I think Saul is probably the best character going right now. And so, and then we do get the a little bit backstory between Saul and Osha. She left the Jedi Order. She was saved by Saul in the fire that May set, and so, and like I said, and I don't like a lot of things they're doing with the Jedi, even because they had when Leslie Headland's wife came up and said, "Oh, I need you for this mission," and he's reminiscing about Osha, and they're like, "Oh, you still have attachments," and I was like, "All right, are we leaning this hard where like the Jedi can't have anything? They can't have any memories or any attachments to?" Because I think, and I get like why you don't have I understand why they're not supposed to have wives or partners or stuff like that, because that can get in the way of things. That's like a basic superhero trope where you can't have a serious significant other, because that will always that will always be used against you. That doesn't mean you don't have any friends or have any people you care about.
And that's where Green Day comes in, and they all sing "I Walk Alone" at the end of the episode. And that's the only time they come together, is to sing that song.
Yeah, and hopefully they look like the Cantina Band, and they're all just like,
yeah.
But yeah, and then you have the mystery Sith at the end. I don't know, because you just have a Sith standing on the dock of the bay with their lightsaber, preaching about being an acolyte or something. Where they're like, an acolyte doesn't use weapons to kill, except when he stabbed Carrie Ann Moss. That was rude.
With a knife.
With a knife.
It wasn't a. It was actually a can opener.
Yeah, it was. What? And that was the thing. People are like, so the 4-inch knife blade in the chest gets it done, but being stabbed in the other shows with the lightsaber, that's not good enough. So I don't know. Like, I've heard rumors what they think. Who the big bad is, who the Sith is. So I don't know if you want to go into that, or if you guys want to.
I'll hold off if you let
hold
me.
off on that one.
Because
if you want to
come back to this in following weeks.
Yeah, say anybody watching, if you want to go see what I think Chris Gore probably nails it, who the bad person is. So, but yeah, like I said, I hope it's good, but also I'm preparing myself for the worst in episode 3, because that's where everybody who is an old school Star Wars fan be like, that is where the proverbial poop hits the fan, and that's where it's like,
yeah.
So we'll see. And you got to see a Wookiee Jedi, so that's fun.
I haven't seen that yet.
I think that's the tail end of episode 2. So, but overall, yeah, I'd try to be optimistic. It's just hard. It's hard with just about anything. So, all right, Nate, what did you want to talk about? You wanted
M. Night Shyamalan? Did you see the trailer for his new movie?
We like to refer to him as M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong.
Shamalama Ding Dong.
We are actually big fans of the M. Night in our home.
Did you see the trailer for The Trap?
Yep.
I
Yeah,
I am really interested in this.
very
More
intriguing.
interested than I should be.
When it's, I think I forget was I talking to you or I was talking to Adam? Where it's like, it's pretty tricky when the twist is already in the trailer. So
Yes, but that's the thing, is that there's something else coming.
right, I was like, what type of twist are we gonna get?
Can twist the twist.
Yes, it's like a pretzel, man.
That's like Family Man. There's a twist, and then there's a twist at the end.
Oh, so it's like a J.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, when I watched that, I had to sit down and process for a minute. I'm like, did I just see that correctly? Like, because yeah, it's like, whoa. So, and I saw this thing, I read this thing, and it said that when you have a twist in a movie, the audience should be able to see it coming. You don't want to try to outsmart your audience. I don't agree with that. I don't. Some of the best twists in movies, like, you have to go, huh? Like, I have to think about, like, wow, like the clues were there. Sixth Sense, Signs got me. Like, and we're talking M. Night. Signs, when his wife got pinned to the tree with a car and she's having like a vision, basically.
Yep.
That was so freaking cool. There's no way you could have saw that coming.
Yeah, and usual suspects. Like, there are some great twists, but also I think, just like anything, as many good, plot twist movies there are in movies that are like really good. There's probably 25 that are terrible. And I think we were just watching, what was it, The Fog, the latest version of The Fog, and we're watching. No, The Fog.
Oh, okay.
We are big fans of The Mist at our home.
Mm-hmm.
My wife put it down. We were watching it, and I was like, I wasn't paying super deep attention to it, and like I popped it up on IMDb, and like because my IMDb is always my go-to for movies in general. Like, in order for it to be like an okay movie, like, it's got to be like a 7. Like, that's kind of the bare minimum. Maybe a 6. Between 6 and 7, then I'm like, okay, fine. This movie has a 3.7 on IMDb, and I kind of announced, I was like, oh baby, this movie's terrible. And we're watching, we're like, it's not. I'm like, it's not bad. Like, it's not terrible. Like, the effects aren't. It's a lot of CGI, so it's not great. But then, like, the twist end came, and I went like, oh, this is why. Okay, and the spoilers for The Fog. The blonde woman, I can't remember her name. Throughout the movie, she's the one from Lost. She's a pretty stuck-up girl from Lost.
Mm-hmm.
And the plot or the twist was she was a ghost the whole time.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's like, no thanks, that was terrible. So I know what you're saying. So I think I love a good twist. The problem is, do I think you can absolutely outsmart yourself and be too clever about it? 100%.
That doesn't feel like a twist. That just feels like poor writing. Like,
I'm sure someone went like, this is a hell of a twist here. Let's go for it. And everybody's like, and sometimes the audience goes, no, that was dumb.
It's like Darth Vader takes his mask off and it's like Snoop Dogg, and he's like, it's like, I don't agree.
I already love that twist. So,
I just looked up Night of the Chihuahuas. It's got a 4.1.
Better than the
on IMDb. No twists.
No twist allowed. So interesting. So, movie I watched recently with my wife. It's a Tubi movie, and it's one of the best newer horror movies I've seen in a long time. It's called The Lowlifes. It seems like it's a very independent picture. But one of the cool things, it has a twist, Nate. But the twist is in the beginning.
Nice.
And I can't tell you because that gives the whole movie away. So.
Yeah.
But If you go check it out, it's free on Tubi. I think it's still on their Low Lives. Really cool movie. Going with the open mind, but it was one of those we were watching it and the movie ended. My wife's kind of like, huh? I was like, I loved it. That was great. So, but yeah, it's definitely. I can't say I haven't seen it before. That type of thing where they kind of preset some expectations and then they twist the expectations.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it before. Maybe I have seen it before. I'm sure it's been done before, but I think they do it very well in this movie. So, all right, Nate. I think that's about good for tonight. Anything else we want to talk about, or anything that you want to go over?
I don't think so. No.
I say Tired Man is going to go relax for a little.
Tired Man's gonna go eat. I think my wife brought me a peanut butter bar because I think my blood sugar started dropping all of a sudden. I was like, oh, I haven't eaten since like 11 a.m.
I say you have to get one of those dogs that starts bopping you when your blood pressure gets low. So that's just your wife jabbing you with a peanut butter bar.
She walked in here. I don't know if she remembered that I was on the podcast, but she had both of her hands behind her back, and I'm like, "You're talking." I'm like, "I don't want to get us right now."
She's like left or right. Be like, I don't know what that means.
I think she figured out that we were still on, but
yeah, I think we're gonna go get something to eat. But Nate, always good time, my friend. And I say we might have to get some other people on here to talk about Acolyte and see what they think about it. So,
sounds
but
good.
also I do want to get if you want to reach out and talk to some artists because I want to see what their
I was going to
compare us. So
suggest Jeff Monk, who is in Toronto. He's Spawn style. He's trying to go to work for Todd McFarlane. And he's pretty cool. He's pretty crass, blunt, but he's awesome and hilarious.
I like it.
Maybe we can get him to join on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, alrighty. So, yeah, we'll start to wrap it up here. So if you want to see what we're talking about or what I just think is interesting, you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram. And on X, you can see my rant at Disney Plus on Twitter there. If you have not yet subscribed to the podcast, please do so. It's on YouTube, The Escape with Nick and Adam. And anything else, sir?
Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching. Good night, America.